going to talk about pot melts next. A pot melt is filling a pot with glass and then getting it hot enough so that when the glass melts, it melts out through a hole in the bottom and onto your shelf. If you plan that correctly. It's just a way of creating some different glass that looks a little different. I think it's also another great way of getting rid of scrap. We all, reusable glass isn't the cheapest thing on, so, we all keep our little tiny bits of glass, and this is perfect for that. Basically all you need to do is fill the pot with small bits of glass. Hopefully Val and I will give you some tips if you're interested in doing this that will make it just a little easier. You can see that they come in a variety of different sort of shapes on them. The advantage to these over to a flower pot is this, right? They come with some different configurations. And this
is a good example.
Yeah, this is a real good one. This is the 5-hole pot, right?
Yeah.
You can see how you get these different areas of color. And then this one was, so, we did the pot melt first, right? It falls on the shelf. And then this was fused then to a piece of white and then slumped ever so slightly. The thinking is, do you need to contain it somehow so that it'll always end up being a circle? And so what people do sometimes is use a stainless steel rim or ring that will help kind of confine the glass. So we didn't do that with these, and you can see that if you just have space on your shelf, they turn out pretty round. You have to be careful that your shelf is level. So, if you've never leveled your kiln, if you have a kiln at home, if you've never leveled it, you'll want to do that. So, literally just put a level on the shelf. You got to try to keep your kiln post as far away from your drop as you can, because when this thing spreads out, you really don't want it spreading into your kiln post. A lot of this depends on what you want to do with it. People often will come back in and then cold work this by slicing it up, with a tile saw, and then using those pieces for something else. We've just been kind of just, fusing these and slumping these because we like how they sort of look. Are they a one-use, sort of a thing? And this particular pot I've fired 3 times, so they're not a one-use thing. People have cracked these pots before in the kiln for a couple of reasons. One is because if you go too fast, sometimes the ceramic, you can shock that. The other issue is that, and I've noticed this more so, is that if you leave too much glass in the pot, as it's cooling down, because you probably can't see this, but all the glass is cracked inside here. Difference of coefficiency of expansions between the glass and the ceramic, right? So if you have a lot of glass in there, it can be enough to cause the ceramic to crack. And these are reusable, but the problem is that, if you put more glass in this and then fire it, it's going to have a little green and a little blue residue with it. So the key is to try to get as much of the glass out of the pot as you can while you're running it. So our firing schedule, if you looked at it, I think we said that we take it at 1600 and we hang there for about, we say 45 minutes to an hour. And the reason for the length of time really has to do with how much glass you've put in the pot. I have never been able to totally drain a pot out of all the glass, ever. So, and I've tried. Just holding it for a real long time at a really high temperature. Eventually what happens is there's not enough mass of glass, there's not enough weight of glass for it to want to drip through the hole. And so you'll always, get this that will attach to your disc. We're using kiln wash on inside the pots, and we don't use any kiln wash either. And the reason why is because as the glass drips and goes through the hole, it will pull the kiln wash with it, and it will drag it down into your pot melt, and then you get all that white cloudiness from the kiln wash. So you can't down. Can the shelf just sit on the bottom of your kiln without kiln posts and then drip onto the shelf? And so you gain more room because you might not have a lot of depth in your kiln. And I'd say yes on that. Yeah, if you can, we have this one up pretty high, but really you don't have to even have it this high. The closer it is to the shelf, you get different looks to it. The higher it is off the shelf, it tends to spin more, and you get this, where there's a lot of lines and a lot of striations going on. If it's closer to the shelf, it doesn't have an opportunity to spin so much, and so you notice more of the colors variation. I weighed the glass to get an idea of what I'd end up with. One of them is about 8 inches, the one with the clear, and there was, I put a little over 2 pounds, it was about 2.5 pounds of clear glass in that. So that was with what was left in there. So there's probably totally, there was probably over, a little over 3 pounds of glass that gave us about that 8-inch circle, if you really want to know.
So once again.
The thing with flower pots, and like, there's a difference in quality. So, you know, you'll get a flower pot, it works just totally fine. You'll get one that you open up your kiln and it's cracked in half and your glass is now all over the place. But there's that sort of inconsistency. The other thing is that, you know, the nice advantage of these is that, you know, with the different kind of shapes of the holes or variations, it gives you a little bit more variety, I think, in that regard. And like I said, these are really surprisingly durable. We fired them a few times, and they, you know, as long as you don't mind working in a similar color theme, they hold up pretty well. Going to go smooth, and it's going to go smooth, and it won't because it's not hot enough. Yeah, you know, slumping temperatures aren't hot enough to get this to smooth out and go back in. So usually we will, you know, take it up to a hotter temperature if we're trying to get this to smooth back in. So take it up to a full fuse temperature so that it'll, you know, soak back in. Control this, eliminate or minimize air bubbles, and I mean, you could soak it longer. We just, you know, again, it really has to do with once you've got it up to 1600 and everything's pouring out of the pot. If you hold it long enough, I mean, all those bubbles will come to the surface and pop and then smooth back over. I mean, in fact, some of these have popped on the surface. It's firing schedule stuff. If you can, this was a good, I think, visual to show you how we've kind of separated the color. It helps to really kind of keep the colors in blocks because you get a little nicer look. If you just throw in random pieces, it gets really muddy looking and real mixed up. It swirls. It's really not swirling. It's pooling. So as it hits in the center, then it keeps pooling out, but then more glass is coming down, and so it kind of causes these sort of concentric looking circles. It is this.